we hit the last few months of the year, November has a lot of things to offer if you're a fan of MMOs. One might even call it MMOvember or Movember. You know, like really bad puns aside, the offering in November is actually really kind of impressive this year, and it covers a wide variety of things. So there might be something that you are interested in as a fan of an MMO, and yours might be listed here. October has big developments of its own, like expansions for current games, but those have already been covered in their own videos, so I kind of wanted to just take everything that's been announced so far for November so that you might prepare and, you know, maybe save a little bit of money for that next expansion coming out. So what does the 11th month of the year have to offer us besides a bunch of Black Friday sales on things like your favorite cosmetic in the store of the game that you swore you'd stop playing because they did that one thing that you just don't like? You know, where they added pay to win mechanics or extra potions, or they rebalanced your class. That game. Well, what does the 11th month have to offer for our MMO ravaged hearts? What a better way to start the month than with some Elder Scrolls? Not that one. Elder Scrolls the MMO. Elder Scrolls Online. The Firesong DLC will be launching on November 1st and on console on November 15th, and it's promising 15 hours of story content. The content will revolve around a new zone, the island of Galen, which promises heaps of monsters, new characters, and of course, political turmoil. And perhaps the highlight of the DLC, there will be an achievement to pet all of the animals on the island. I mean, just look how fucking cute this thing is. Like, I just want to squish its face. This is the culmination of the year-long expansion. You're tasked with coming to the aid of the people of Galen while investigating the motives of the Firesong Circle's attacks on the Stone Lore and Eldertide Druids, as well as the relentless raids from the Sea Elf pirates besieging House Mornard. With the DLC comes Update 36 to the base game, which includes simplified Chinese localization, target markers for enemies, ability to hide pets in towns, although why would you be hiding those cute little things? Armory stations in PvP zones, Emperor scaling in Cyrodiil, furnishing lists for visited homes, and text-to-speech integration for chat. Moving on to the 8th of November, Lord of the Rings Online is getting a major revamp for the new players, but it will come with a cost. Before the Shadow is the mini expansion launching for the older game. That's main highlight will be a revamp of the level 1 through 32 starting experience, which includes 2 new regions, Swanfleet and Cardolan. I've covered this mini expansion in more depth in another video on this channel earlier this month, so I won't get into too much detail here, but I'll link that video below if you're interested. Now, in somewhat more murky waters, on November 10th, Wild Terra II is going to be releasing. The isometric MMO is moving from early access to full launch on November 10th. Wild Terra II has not received the best reviews in the lead up to its launch, especially recently, which makes me wonder if they're rushing it out of early access a little too soon, or a lot of too soon. The game does have some of the most expensive packs I've seen since Bless Online though. For a mere $300, you can be a dragon tamer in Wild Terra 2. So pinch those pennies. I'm seeing some red flags with this game, especially with the reviews from players with significant hours in the game, so approach this with caution. Now, sticking with the isometric MMO train, a free-to-play title that's been out for 11 years is getting an official launch on Steam. This is the first major update for the game since 2020. Drakensang Online is technically already available on Steam, but with an early access tag. The full release comes on November 16th. Reviews for the game are pretty mixed and passionate. So take that as you will, but at least with this game, unlike Wild Terra 2, there's not really a barrier to entry, just your time. And we play MMOs. A lot of our time is wasted, let's be honest. Following the recent delay for Symphony of Destruction and Blade and Soul, players may still be excited to hear that in November, new story content is on the way. Act 11's epic story continues with a part 2. There's no specific date for this update other than just November, but it will follow the story of Mushin's decline, giving backstory for the betrayal he faced at the hands of his half-brothers. Perhaps we'll get both the Symphony of Destruction and the story around the same time. Now, one of the things that caught me maybe most off guard going into November was the announcement of a new EVE Online expansion, Uprising. Dubbed as a narrative-driven expansion, Uprising will be launching in November. With the expansion comes improvements to factional warfare, a suite of new ships alongside balance changes to existing ships, and there will be new hangars as well as the introduction of heraldry for corporations or alliance logos on your ships. Massively OP reported that the upgrade to factional warfare is coming in phases, so not everything will roll out with the expansion in November. Some will be slated for early 2023. And I guess that really just kind of wraps up the month, right? There's no other big thing that has rumors surrounding it, or probably potentially like the largest expansion of the year for one of the largest, if not the largest MMO still currently out there. No, there's nothing else to talk about for November. Something that was surprising to come out in November when I was expecting it at least in December. Now we can move on to talk about December and how EverQuest 1 and 2 will be. Okay, we will cover Dragonflight and their potential for console support, or maybe not console support, or at the very least, controllers. World of Warcraft's Dragonflight expansion will be launching on November 28th. The highlights of the expansion are of course going to be the new story, new zones, the new race, the Drakthir, and its associated new class, the Evoker, as well as dragon riding, the new form of flying in the game, which honestly looks a lot like it took from Guild Wars 2. I suppose imitation is the most sincere form of flattery, and for all the games that have copied World of Warcraft over the years, why not do the same? It's not like World of Warcraft really copied Warhammer anyway, or did it? I don't know. A new HUD may be one of the least talked about but most important features coming with expansion in WoW. Now, Warcraft has always benefited from their add-on system, allowing the quick plug and play of custom UIs, so it hasn't suffered the way some other games have, like EverQuest. I still remember using Xpearl back in the day after all, but adding new customization to the UIs sounds like a win. But what about the rumors that have been swirling all around about World of Warcraft coming to console, especially with the acquisition from Microsoft and potentially coming to Xbox? Well, they've been kind of debunked for most of the year, but that doesn't mean there isn't some change on that horizon. Data mining has uncovered icons for the Dragonflight expansion demonstrating support for PlayStation, Xbox, and generic controllers. This seems to fit very neatly with their UI revamp and customization options. It also works hand in hand with their new action combat auto-targeting in Dragonflight that will automatically target whatever enemy you are facing if you don't have them targeted. And while the rumors have repeatedly been dismissed about console ports, this at least lays the groundwork, while simultaneously giving more options for how to play the game to PC players who prefer a controller. If nothing else, it could be a live test to see how controllers work with the game originally launched all the way back in 2004. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure how that will work out. How will a controller work with all the abilities in World of Warcraft? Will it be toggleable? Will you be able to switch back and forth? I mean, Final Fantasy XIV has probably just as many different abilities, so if they can make it work, I'm sure that WoW will be able to make it work as well. And finally, not in November, but in December, we should get expansions for both EverQuest 1 and EverQuest 2. Beta testing for EverQuest 2 is slated for October, and we should get more news from EverQuest 1 soon. So far, we only have the title, Knight of the Shadows, and a beta test date, October 11th. More information continues to come out about EverQuest 2 expansion though. With the launch of their expansion site, concept art and images show that it's the return to Talk His, the original elf city. The most recent concept art shows lush green growing in what looks like the ruins of Talk His. The lore lover in me is thrilled to see this. 4 new zones are named: the Rajdur Plateaus, Talkish Badlands, Sandstone Delta, and Buried Talkish His. Whatever the case, I've always been very fascinated to see how EverQuest 2 carries on the lore from EverQuest 1. The lore of these two games is immense. It can be winding, sometimes a little bit confusing, but it's always been interesting to me. And it may be enough to make me at least come back for a little while into EverQuest 2. Maybe. I don't know. That they need a level in Stat Squish. That would be really nice. Now, I want to get into some speculation to end this. We don't have any official announcement yet, but if the pre-alpha sessions on October 1st and 2nd went well for Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, I'm hoping there are more pre-alpha sessions coming for the game in November, and perhaps the Cohh stream originally planned for September This might be wishful thinking on my part, mostly because I'm just eager to see Cohh stream the in-development MMO after his announcement that he had invested in the project. So November is shaping up to be a big month for fans of MMOs, with lots for us to whet our appetites about and probably complain about. But what are you looking forward to the most? What has your eye going into the end of the year? It's probably not all that shocking that for me, it is going to be Dragonflight. This is perhaps the biggest expansion of the year. And although End of Dragons of Guild Wars 2 and High Isle for ESO may have something to say about that, it's still going to be potentially a way to see where is the MMO market and how is, reception for new expansions in still the behemoth of MMOs. And while it still may be a ways off until we get a Final Fantasy XIV expansion, it's probably going to be the largest expansion we get for a while. Now, with all these MMOs, some new and some old, launching new content or revising or updating, reminded of some of the most incredible stories in MMO history. Some of the things that just made you go, wait, what? What the fuck are you talking about? Like that, there's no way that shit happened. Those kind of stories about MMOs. The ones that are sometimes hard to believe. And if you think that was a casual call to action to get you to click this video, then yes, you are absolutely right. Did it work? I mean, this video has stuff about Ultima Online, it has stuff about Everquest, World of Warcraft. My name is Red Flynn. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. You're still here? Did you click the video? Right there.